question 1, we have a two-way frequency table. Now a two-way frequency table is just a way to write data in two categories. So for example, our two categories is students who like math or don't like math, and students who like sports versus don't like sports. So this could be a survey that I gave in our classroom and said, raise your hand if you like math, raise your hand if you like sports, and then this is how we would analyze that data. So the way that this works is we just need to add up the columns to make sure that everything that adds up to the totals are accurate. So 35 plus 35 is 70, so this is an accurate total. So of the 35 students who like sports, right, because this column is about sports, and 35 students like sports, 28 of them like math. So to find out how many don't like math, we're just going to subtract 35 minus 28, we get 7. 7 students who like sports don't like math. Now coming down this way, the total number of students who like math is just the students who like math and sports plus the students who like math and don't like sports, which is 46. 46 total students like math. And now for students who don't like math, again, we're just going to add down the columns. 7 plus 17 is 24. And now to check our work, we're going to add these two columns to see if it equals the total. So 46 plus 24 is 70, so it equals the total. And that is how you fill in a two-way frequency table. Now question 2 says, how many students don't like math? So we're looking at our table. This is students who don't like math. I'm looking for the total number who don't like math. It's 24. So number 2 is 24. Question 3. How many students like math and don't play sports? So they like math, so it's going to be in the math category, and they don't play sports, so we're just going to bring these together. 18. 18 students like math, but don't like sports. So number 3, we're asking for the percentage of students who like math that play sports. So these are all of my students who like math. There's 46 of them, and of those 46 students, 28 of them play sports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 28 out of the 46 students who like math, which is 61%. So 61% of students who like math also play sports. That was number 4. Number 5. What is the percentage of students who don't play sports? So our whole is students. Our whole is 70 students. And of those 70 students, 35 of them don't play sports. So our proportion here, our whole is 70, and 35 of them don't play sports. So we have 35 divided by 70 is 50% of our students don't play sports. And number 6, of the people who play sports, what is the percentage who don't like math? So of our students who play sports, that's 35. So the bottom of this proportion is going to be 35. Of the students who play sports, 35 of them, 7 of them don't like math. So now we do the math. 7 divided by 35 is 20%. Let's move on to number 7. Okay, number 7 is kind of a long question. I pulled out what's important. I said Evan surveyed 100 people, and only 10% of the people he surveyed didn't like strawberries. So that's some important information that I can put in this chart. First things first, he surveyed 100 people. So the total of people surveyed is 100. And only 10% of the people he surveyed didn't like strawberries. So we're talking about not liking strawberries. Of the people he surveyed, people who don't like strawberries, 10% of 100 is 10. So of the 100 people he surveyed, only 10% of them didn't like strawberries. So now I can use this information to fill out the rest of my chart. So in order to find the number of people who don't like strawberries but do like ice cream, I'm going to subtract 10 minus 2 is 8. Now I kind of have to Sudoku it over here. So I need to look at my chart and see what pieces I can fill in order to fill out the things that I cannot. So I know that 100 minus 10 is 90. So 90 people like strawberries. And I know that we have the total number of people who like strawberries plus the number of people who don't like strawberries to find the total number of people who like ice cream. So let's add this up. And now in order to find the total number of people who don't like ice cream, I'm going to subtract my total number of people minus 83. And now to find the number of people who like berries and don't like ice cream, I'm going to subtract 17 minus 2 is 15. And now I'm just going to check through and make sure that my answers all line up. So 75 plus 15 is 90. 8 plus 2 is 10. And 83 plus 17 is 100. And now let's check down. 75 plus 8 is 83. 15 plus 2 is 17. And 90 plus 10 is 100. So this is our two-way data table of people who like or don't like berries and like or don't like ice cream. Let's move on to number 8. All right, number 8, Isabel surveyed 80 kids, and of the kids who like dolls, 30% more kids like trains. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that's kind of difficult. I'm going to fill in what I can figure out first. So just with basic addition and subtraction, I know that 80 minus 23 gives me 57. So 57 total kids like dolls. And now using that, I can figure out the number of kids who like dolls but don't like trains. And this is a subtraction problem. So 57 minus 40 is 17. Now I'm looking at this data and I cannot use this data in subtraction problems to fill out these numbers. So I'm going to need to use my problem. Of the kids who like dolls, of the kids who don't like dolls, so there are 23 kids who don't like dolls, 30% more kids like trains than students who don't like trains. So what I'm going to do is write myself an equation. Because I know that this number plus this number is going to give me 23. So I know that something plus something else will give me 23. Now I know that 30% more kids like trains. So 30% of this number, 30% more than this number like trains. So the way I would write that is 1.3x, because 1x is that many kids, plus 0.3 is 30%. 0.3x is 30% of that many kids, so 1.3x is 30% more kids. This ends up being 2.3x equals 23. Remember, we're using 23 because 23 kids don't like dolls. And now we're going to divide both sides by 2.3 in order to get x by itself. And we end up with x equals 10. So now we have trains and don't like trains. 30% more kids like trains. So 1.3 times 10 like trains, which is 13. And that means 10, just the regular number of kids, is the kids who do not like trains. And now we know 13 plus 10 does equal 23, so we know that we have our numbers correct. And now we're just going to add across to find our totals. So 40 plus 13 is 43. And 17 plus 10 is 27. And, I'm sorry, this is 53. 53 plus 27 does give us 80, so we ended up with the correct numbers.